Hello, fellow investors. This is Sensei Gilliland with Black Belt Investors, and welcome to tonight's webinar on mastering markets. Before we get started tonight, just a few items I'd like to point out. Number one, welcome, as Black Belt Investors is a real estate investment, education, and coaching establishment. We've been in business since 1995, and we are here to help you, whether you want to build a real estate business and or a real estate portfolio. Now, tonight's webinar is going to be educating you on different markets across states, what we take a look at in regards to a general investment and how we can optimize that investment to make sure that we are safe and not sorry. But before we begin, do me a favor, go ahead and pull out your cell phones, turn those things on vibrate, close out any distractions around you by shutting the door, and let's just kick back and relax and focus on tonight's education for the next hour. And then at the end of the webinar, if you're still hanging on, and I know who's hanging on, I'm going to give you a free gift tonight and also take maybe 5-10 minutes to answer any questions that you may have. So let's have an open discussion tonight. Sound good? But before we kick it off, you know what I like to do? Let's open up with a joke. Now, I'm not much of a joke teller. In fact, some of you are probably laughing right now, although I like to make fun of people sometimes, but I don't really explain jokes. But here's one I think that was probably pretty darn suiting and related to our niche field. Here it goes, all right? So a real estate agent had just closed his first deal. To his horror, he finds out that he discovered that a piece of land that he sold was completely submerged underwater. The customer is going to come back here pretty darn mad at that agent as this agent explains it to his boss. So he asks his boss, should I give him his money back? And his boss roared at him, money back? What kind of salesman are you? Get out there and sell him a houseboat. All right, so I might be the only one laughing here, but I thought it was pretty darn funny. Anyways, let's go ahead and get started. Mastering markets. As you can see up on the screen here, it says action is the foundational key to all success. Pablo Picasso. Boy, isn't that true, because I find that people that are taking consistent, relentless action are the ones that are making deals. So get this, I got a client of mine that really has been a little bit slow out of the gates. He's been at this for nearly a year and a half and just kind of striking out. And I find that he's kind of being busy, and he's got some focus in some great areas. But I also find that, there's a little bit more fine tuning as we all need to move forward, right? But a year and a half goes by and no deals are happening. You know what? He's got 3 in the pipeline right now. He's closing 2. So being relentless and consistent in taking action in education and applying that action will get you the deals. Some people may take a little bit longer, and some people are going to be a lot quicker than a year and a half. But the point here is don't stop trying. Okay? Let's kick it off. Here we go. So back to mastering the market presented by me, Sensei Black Belt Investors. So really, you're here for one of 2 reasons, right? You're either here ready for some real estate deals, or B, you may want to learn the best ways to invest for you. Or maybe there's option C. Maybe you're just hiding from your buddies and family members because, you know what, your football team is not doing really good right now, kind of like the Cleveland Browns, right? Well, nonetheless, I'm glad that you're here. So let's take a look at a deal. This deal here produces a 20% cap rate. Do you know what that means? That means after all expenses, your net income, not your gross income, but your net income, and you're earning 20% on that property. Here's a 10-unit apartment building. Annual net income is $52,000. That's about 2/3 of most people's American annual salary, right? Or at least Californian salary. And then sales price for this property for a 10-unit, $280,000. That's so cheap in my book for 10 units. I don't know where you live, but if you live in Phoenix, If you live in Florida, if you live in New York or California, you're not going to find 10-unit apartment buildings for $280,000 in B minus C plus neighborhoods. You're just not. Take a look at this deal. This one's actually 6 brick buildings. 6. You heard it right. 82-unit apartment building. Annual net income, $480,000. Actually, you know what, guys? That's wrong. It's like $280,000, not $480,000. It's $280,000 net annual income. And so we turn around and we've got this thing pre-sold at $1.5 million. But back in 2008, sold for 2.3, easily appraised for 1.7 today. So you make 200,000. So you got a fantastic cap rate at 19%. Remember, that's the net income. $280,000 on your annual net income for 1.5 million. Where in the heck are you going to find buildings like this? Beautiful buildings that look like a hotel for such cheap money. Shoot, I just sold a property in Pacific Palisades for 1.3. It was only 1,400 square feet. Insane, right? These are going to be your cash flow and wealth builders. Let's just check out one more. Here's a great little starter investment property, right? Came in here and cleaned it up, put on a new roof, put in some new fixtures inside the house and vanities and cabinets and painted it, producing a 13.4% cap rate. That comes out to $590 a month cash flow for a measly sales price of $48,000. Now, I believe this one's pending sale right now. Now, maybe Kim Kardashian might not live here, but the numbers work, right? You can certainly put in gold toilets if you like, but this is not our home. This is a rental property. So let me ask you, you want deals like these? Then you need to get on our waiting list, because we do have a waiting list right now. Now, with this list, best thing for you to do is to email us after this webinar tonight so we can get you started if you're interested in deals like what I just showed you. Either large apartment complexes or 10-unit buildings or single-family houses for $48,000. Just email us at invest@blackbeltinvestors.com and we'll get you hooked up. Now, best thing for you to do is go ahead and pull out your phone and plug in our phone number, 951-280-1900, so you can give us a call tomorrow, because you know why? If you haven't had a free strategy session yet, then schedule one. That's right. I give a one-time free strategy session. May have to do with wholesaling, might have to do with rehabbing. It might talk about building your real estate portfolio. Or you can simply go to our website, blackbeltinvestors.com/coaching/free-consultation. Get ahead of the pack. Go online right now. Just don't click out of this webinar. Bookmark the site. Let us know the best time to give you a call, and we'll set it up. In fact, while your phone's out, here's what I want you to do. While your phone's out, let's start following each other. Everyone likes more likes and followers, right? I mean, how many of you have Twitter or Facebook? So let's do Twitter. Let's do Facebook right now. Follow me. Get on Facebook. Go to Facebook/BlackBeltInvestors, or Facebook.com, I should say, /BlackBeltInvestors. Or if you're a tweeter like Donald Trump, then let's hook up at Sensei Gilliland, okay? Put it in your phone right now. Let's start making connections. Look, you're already doing it, right? We're here to network. We're here to start connecting. You're here to see deals come across your plate. Then let's connect right now. All right. For many of these times, I believe it's confusing for people, right? We've been watching the news for the past year and a half, and boy, has it been confusing. But not just in the political arena. It's been confusing with finances, and it's been confusing with careers, and many people are now changing careers. You think you're going to be in a lifelong career, and next thing you know, you're doing 3 different careers within your lifetime. I mean, millions of people don't know what to invest in anymore. Do they invest in themselves? Do they invest in a boss? Do they invest in stocks, gold? Because we have how many gold commercials are out there today? They don't know what to invest in, how to do it, or are questioning the right time to do it. All they know is that they're scared. They're under a lot of pressure. Time is flying by, and whatever they've been doing, it simply just isn't working. You know, we have the challenges, right? Stock market has been really bad news for a lot of investors, has it not? Wells Fargo's former CEO warned not to put new money into stocks. Multi-billionaire bond king Bill Gross says he doesn't like bonds or stocks anymore, but he does like real estate. And gold is priced crazy high. It's insane what's going on. Tech companies are being valued at billions of dollars based on what they might be worth. If they get the whole world as customers, that's gambling. Wages are not rising fast enough. Prices are going up on everything, and taxes are going up. So what do? Well, I might have an answer. More money or no money? We've got problems, Houston, right? So if you have money, where do you go to multiply it? Or do you just keep it safe under your mattress? If you don't have a lot of money, how do you make some? A new negative interest rate environment means it costs money to put money in the bank, right? What do you earn when you put your money in a savings account? A percent? A 0.5%? 1.5%? I have no idea. But I can tell you right now you're losing because you haven't factored in taxes on that money, and you haven't factored in inflation. You're losing money. It's a negative interest rate environment. Even the cash under your mattress that I mentioned earlier is going down in value right now, this minute. Only the top 0.5% of Americans have enough money to retire comfortably. Do you know that? Most won't be able to work as long as they hoped. They'll get laid off or they'll just become unable. But that's exactly what is happening in millions of Americans' households right now. Not to mention the millions without houses. Aside from wanting to please your spouse or give your kids a good chance to get out there and start off their life, or maybe it's just simply as buying your new iPhone 7, which I did today. You know, you are meant for more and bigger things. That media confusion, the paralysis it causes, that's robbing people of what they could be, what they should have been able to do. I don't want that for you. I know you don't want that for you. There's got to be something better out there. Don't you agree? Because there's nothing worse than a wasted life. It's different for everyone out there. Maybe it's just free time to be with your kids as they grow up, or it could be massive charity work and solving huge world problems like what Bill Gates or Mother Teresa did. It could be traveling and experiencing the world, or it could be providing good housing to hundreds of families and changing their lives while you get to spend yours doing what you love to do the most. Whatever it is, it's my mission to help you get out there, but only if you let me. But you got to ask yourself, what do you really want? So we're all here basically because we know that real estate is a great way to beat up those challenges and to get more of what we want, what we are supposed to have, and what we're supposed to do. We've heard that real estate can deliver benefits like cash flow, like wealth building, tax benefits, and building up more free time for ourselves. But How do you invest in real estate? Where do you invest in real estate? What companies and professionals should you choose to work with? How to get started if you don't have $1 million in the bank or perfect credit. Is this a good time or a bad time to invest? The truth is, there's a lot of misinformation out there. You're probably being tugged left and right from different real estate educational companies and gurus. But you know what? Success is about understanding how the market really works. It's also about sticking to the core principles and finding the best investments for you personally. You know, you read the playbook of any highly respected, consistent business leader or billionaire investor, and you'll find these same principles. Number one, understand what you're investing in. You don't need to know everything about the strategy and the tactics and the marketing and the investment itself, but you should have a strong foundation of what you're about to invest in. So that way you can make an educated decision and you don't get cold feet second guessing yourself. Power principle of success number 2 is invest in assets that you can control. You can control certain assets like gold. You can control real estate. That's why the banks lend on real estate, whether it's a great market or a poor market. It's very hard to control stocks. You're actually becoming a passive investor, handing money, investing into some stock while others make decisions. Well, you can't ever visit that stock, but you can visit real estate. Power principle of success number 3, invest based on numbers now, not speculation or emotion. You know, sometimes when you are looking at a piece of real estate and the salesperson will give you what they call a pro forma, a projected pro forma. That basically means that if you get rid of the tenants today and put new tenants in tomorrow, you can increase the rents. Rents have been the same because the owner doesn't want to raise rents because they're afraid of a vacancy. You've heard of these things before, right? Well, we don't purchase on projections. We like to purchase on actuals. We don't want to buy in certain markets because we think we're going to strike gold there. This happened quite a bit back in 2003 to 2007. I mean, look at all those people that purchased properties, let's just say America, or more specifically, how about Orlando? Everybody was buying properties in Florida, Orlando, Florida, because prices were doubling at rapid speed. You buy a condo for 100 grand, next thing you know, you're selling it 6 months later for 150. You pay 150 for it, next thing you know, 6 months later you're selling it for 250. I mean, it was stacking up real quick, right? So it's kind of like playing the game of hot potato. Who's going to get stuck with a hot potato? And boom, the market falls out. Well, you know what? You are basing your investment on speculation. You were basing it really on only of appreciation in the market to continually to go up. Bad idea. And don't run out there investing in real estate, and don't run out there investing in any other type of business or funds or whatever it may be strictly on emotion. Because if you're doing it on emotion, that's when you tend to make the most mistakes. And then power principle of success number 4, diversify, diversify, diversify. You know what I mean by that? Don't put all your eggs in one basket. If you're strictly only believe in real estate, then don't buy all real estate just in one area. It's okay to have a dozen properties in one area, but then maybe move over to another area. It's okay to have just single family houses, but eventually you're going to want a mixture of multi-units and apartments and maybe some commercial. When you have the opportunity, diversify in area, diversify in the product, Diversify strictly for cash flow and strictly for appreciation, maybe a balance of both. Diversify, diversify, diversify. Power principles of success number 5. Invest with taxes in mind. Now, how can we invest our money using a vehicle that will allow us to keep our money? Real estate. We've got depreciation. We have expenses against the property. You can have ordinary and necessary business expenses such as electronics and travel and dining. There's so many things that we can use to help us on the tax situation. And then if you decide to diversify and you take 5 single-family residences and you want to cash them out and trade them in for a 20-unit apartment complex, you can do that without having to pay tax on the spot. We can defer it. So invest with taxes in mind. Number 6, understand the supply and demand. Understanding supply and demand is very crucial when it comes to investing in real estate. We have the term, we want to follow the rooftops. We want to be in areas that always have the demand for growth. There's a lot of areas across the states that, okay, you can get a cheap property. Sure, the numbers look good on paper, but you know what? There's no demand. But they've got plenty of supply. That's a soft market. If I can't get my property rented, if I can't keep it rented, if there's no room to push the value up, not an area I want to invest in. I want to invest in neighborhoods that have job growth, that have infrastructure expansion, that has business growth. There's revitalization in the town. Money is flowing. That's where I want to invest. Why? Because the supply will dry up, then demand will start shooting up. Number 7, use proven professionals, systems, and strategies. You know how many people have jumped on the bandwagon since 2012 in regards to real estate education and investment firms offering properties? A lot. Where were they during the recession? They weren't around. Why? Because they didn't know how to survive a changing market. So you might want to take a look at these companies and actually find out how long they've been in business. How worthy are they? Are they some young new kid and there's nothing wrong with being young new kid on the block, but do they have the experience, or are they just experiencing the good times right now? Because when the bad times come around, where are they going to be? Because we will be in another recession. No doubt, right? History repeats itself. It's going to happen. So you definitely want a time-tested professional and strategies with a system in place to keep you safe and not sorry. Number 8, always know how to get out of your property before you get into it. This is where a lot of people get stuck. They rely on a company. They know nothing about investing. They just sink their money over there. And the next thing you know, they're stuck with the property. They want to liquidate it, but they can't. Typically, because they're in the wrong neighborhood, possibly overpaid for the property. And it goes back to number 6, understanding the supply and demand. So make sure you know your exit strategy before you get in. Now, let's take a look at some rental properties. For me, those principles all line up when it comes to these rental properties. Those power of success. Number 1, we've all lived in a home at some point, right? In fact, we probably rented a home at some point, whether it's an apartment, mobile home, or a house. So with that, there's other people that are going to rent. In fact, we have more renters moving in that, moving towards that arena than we do have home buyers. The United States was always about home ownership. But man, with this new generation and the recession that's taken place, it's changed a little bit. So it's good for us investors to buy properties because we'll have renters that will fulfill them and will generate our cash flow. Number 2, multiple ways to control the value of rentals. Well, we can control value of rentals of number 1, buy it right. Don't overpay for a rental. Don't buy a property on the retail side strictly going after appreciation. Make sure that it cash flows at least a couple $100 a month. Make sure that you have the value of a turnkey rental to where you can fix it up and retail it when you sell it. Make sure that you're in an area that has the ability to resell. Make sure that you're at least in a working class neighborhood that has a good ratio of renters and homeowners that offer stability to the blue collar workers. Our values are going to come in through sweat equity, from purchasing the property at the right price, from being able to be in markets that allow us rental increases, being able to cut back on certain costs to increase cash flow by leveraging your property, possibly with a loan. There's so many different ways that we can control values. And I'm not just talking about a resale value, but also on the cash flow value side. Number 3, invest based on current income. No need to speculate on appreciation. Appreciation is key to my portfolio, no doubt, because appreciation is the quickest path to wealth. I say it all the time. But I'm also going to invest based on the current income, because cash flow is going to be almost equally as important. Cash flow is going to give you the money needed for repairs, maintenance, property management, taxes, a padding in your savings account. Cash flow is needed because you want to also build up your savings account or possibly live off of it. So invest based on current income, and don't speculate on future income, and don't speculate on appreciation. That's just cream on top. Number 4, you can continue to expand and add more rentals in new markets. Through the methods I've been talking about tonight, if you buy right, if you increase the value of the property, if you increase the rental value on the cash flow side, you let that property incubate a little bit. You trade these properties in, like I mentioned earlier. We do a 1031 tax-deferred exchange, and we take those properties and move them up into a multi-unit. Or you go buy more single-family residences that are undervalued in certain markets. I'm a wholesaler. I love to be in markets that are undervalued. Why? Because I'm after the cash flow and the appreciation. I'm not after one or the other. I want both. Number 5, real estate offers plenty of tax benefits, does it not? I mentioned earlier, what do we get? 1031, right? We can exchange properties. It's called a like-kind exchange. We get depreciation on residential and a commercial. We get ordinary business expenses. You can write off your points and on a loan. You can write off the interest on a loan. There's so many things that we can do to optimize our cash flow by using these tax benefits. Number 6, the needs for housing just keeps growing, right? I mean, the last time I checked, and you probably agree with me, we're still a very desirable country to live in. In fact, we have more foreigners pouring into this country, legally, than any other country. Why? Because we're still the land of opportunity. Our housing, the needs for our housing just keep growing. So that's a great thing for us investors. Number 7, there's many ways to leverage others and maximize your free time. That's going to be, and I'll talk about this later, it's going to be part of your power team that's going to help you, do some of the job duties and help you succeed. That's also going to be maybe joint ventureships. You might partner like how I partner with a lot of people on properties, and we leverage each other. You might have a consultant like myself, or maybe someone else that has a lot of experience in the real estate that you're getting into. So that way we can maximize our portfolio and we leverage others, which ultimately is going to maximize our time because we're making more money that gives us more time. Then we have a lot of exit strategies when it comes to real estate. Most people just think, Buy and sell and rent. Those three things, right? Buy, sell, rent. Buy, rent, sell. That's where they're at. Not black belt investors. Bad market, we still make money. Great market, we still make money. We have lots of options. We can do lease options, purchase options, sandwich lease options, contract for deeds, land installment contracts, lots of different creative ways that we do here all the time for ourselves and for clients like you. This way, it's always optimizing your portfolio and you don't feel stuck. So when is the best time to invest in real estate? Well, I'm going to show you a simple quadrant. This quadrant here is our real estate cycle. It's on the simplicity side. We have our expansion, oversupply, recession, and recovery. Now, most of you think that America is going to be in one slice of this pie. No, America is on all four slices of these pies. So what I'm looking here, if you're in a primary market like Las Vegas, San Antonio, Dallas, lots of areas in Florida, Phoenix, California, you are in the expansion cycle. If you are in certain places like Kokomo, Illinois, certain places in West Virginia, and there's so many other states, you're actually still in the recession part. You haven't seen much improvement. Then you can be in other markets like Indianapolis, Kansas City, Cleveland, where you're in the recovery stage. No one's really hitting the oversupply where they've overbuilt at this point and the houses are just sitting there, but we do have very soft markets that have an oversupply of properties. So this is typically what we see, right? It's the same cycle, just put together in a bell curve. Now we've recently been trained to take a look at cycles like this. And so if you can see my cursor, I'm not sure if you can see it or not, but here we are in the recovery stage, right? It goes all the way up to the hill and goes back down. So if we're in 2003, then we're starting the expansion stage in California, right? And then 2007, 2006, 2007, we're right at the very top of this expansion stage, getting ready to hit the oversupply. Tail end 2007, 2008, 9, and 10, we're hitting the oversupply here, and right into the recession, right? So it's not until we go back over to number 1 and 2, 2011, where we start to see the recovery and start moving up the cycle again. So let me see if I can pull out a cursor here. I don't know where the cursor is. Never mind. But if we're in California right now, we're in 3. See that on the expansion side? We're on 3 right now. Where at in 3 depends on which micro market you're in California. But if we go over to, let's say, Indianapolis, Kansas City, Missouri, Midwest, right in the center, then you're in expansion like right in between 1 and 2. And then if we skip over a little bit north and go to Cleveland, we're basically right at recovery number 2. And so we've got this great big hill to climb if you're investing in markets like a Cleveland, right? So that's why we like to move around in different markets. And you'll see black belt investors do that over the last 2 decades, that we're constantly moving around in markets because it allows us to buy and sell and optimize our rental properties. Not only that, we also have to time the market perfectly for our fix and flips because, again, we don't want to play hot potato. Now, we've recently been trained to see cycles just like this here, right? And here we have the U.S. home prices expectations. It goes all the way back to 1997, brings us up to 2017. Now, if you take a look, this blue line is the pre-bubble trend, right? And so this brings us up here, but our actual history is this jagged line that's climbing up the hill because we're just pulling out of recession in the early 90s, climbing up this hill, loving life. If you're a real estate investor like myself that started back in 94, 95, I just had a sweet long ride all the way up to 2007 where we really hit the peak, and boy, whew, started experiencing this downfall real quick, right? But here we are again climbing up here. And so if you're in a primary market, you're following this green line here. If you're in a secondary market, you're following this blue line. Tertiary market is going to be this red line here. So you can see how things have changed, right? Now, does that mean we're actually going to hit a recession soon? Are the properties are going to start going down in value? You know, is it going to plateau? These are questions that people ask all the time. These are valid questions. Let me tell you, I have no idea. I have no idea. People can forecast as much as they want. What we have to go off of is history. What we have to go off of what's happening, not just in America today, but what's globally happening. Now we got to factor in, you know, global economics. We got to factor in U.S. economics. We have to factor in lending, job growth, or no job growth, population. So many things that we need to take a look at. But I'll tell you what, property values in primary markets like California and New York, really out of the reach for most people to buy. It really is. And so they've got to make a decision sooner or later. They're either going to make lending a little bit easier, or they're just going to leave it alone. We all expect that the interest rates can't stay as low as they have been for the past 8 years. They're going to have to eventually climb if they want to make some money, and they will. So we expect that to happen sometime soon. But there's real no indication at this point that we're going to start dropping in price. We all kind of speculated about a year and a half ago that we're going to be dropping in price right about now. Well, with all the economic data out there coming back, there's just no indicator that it's going to happen. One of the biggest reasons, guys, is this. If you take a look at this climb from, let's say, the heyday of 2002 all the way to 2007, everybody that bought property, or almost everybody that bought property, got loans. And they got them with interest only, no money down, 125% negative AM, strictly going off of appreciation, right? But this time around, all this going down the hill and climbing back up, the majority has been purchased all cash. Ooh, that's going to play a big factor. So we're not going to crash as hard when the real estate or the United States economy goes into a recession. We're not going to crash as hard in the real estate market because the majority of properties were purchased with cash and lending wasn't nearly as much involved. So that gives us a little bit of warm and fuzzies inside. Now take a look at this. We're going to go back to 1963 here, where properties were under $25,000. And you can see that we've always gone up no matter what, right? And we've had housing bubbles from 63 all the way to 2007. They just weren't as great as this 2007. I mean, 1990 here was our biggest recession since the Great Depression. Now, we've had several recessions throughout this span, but nothing as great as 1990 and 2008. But do we have a new bubble forming? Well, for the answers I gave before, no one really knows. We do know this, with everything that's going on, we don't see property values falling. We see sales slowing down is what's happening. So if people that are overpriced their properties and they're having a hard time selling, they're starting to bring their properties back down to reality to get the assets sold. Now here, we can even go back further, right, to 1900, and we see more positive growth. 1900, and then we have the Great Recession or Great Depression, right, and then values start shooting up quite a bit. Why is it kind of flatlined here? Does anybody know? I'll tell you why. Because they weren't recording like we recorded the statistical information back then like we are doing now. Otherwise, I believe we'd see a completely different line here. But basically, from the 20s is when recordings started happening, and then you can see how we've been going all the way up to the top of 2007, dropped back down to 2010, being our lowest point, but now we're right back up here again in 2016, which we're at the tail end right now. Now, get this. What about since 1626? You know Manhattan originally traded for just 24 bucks? Isn't that crazy? Manhattan, which I'll be there in a couple weeks, originally traded for $24. What can you buy in Manhattan for 24 bucks today? Slice of pizza or two? Probably, right? Because I'm trying to get a hotel over there today, and everything's 400 bucks plus. $24 it traded for. Now, you know the NASDAQ's only 50 years old, and London Stock Exchange is only, it's 200 years old approximately. I don't want you to speculate on the market, but there are those that don't want you to see the big picture. They want you to make the wrong moves. They want you out of the way so they can buy at better prices. And they want to buy your property cheap, only to rent it back to you for more money later. Is that a conspiracy? No, it's not. I'll tell you why. I've run the auctions for quite some time. And who sells at the auction? The beneficiary. Who's the beneficiary? The banks. They want to liquidate the properties. We've all read the books. They say, hey, banks aren't interested in holding assets. They just want their loans. They want their money. No longer true, guys. The banks are at the auctions buying properties. So you have to ask yourself the question, why are they doing that? Bigger picture out there. Because they want our housing. They're no longer in the lending business. Stock exchange no longer in the stock business. They're now getting into the real estate business. They want to monopolize everything. So are you going to get a slice of that pie? Don't wait. Be too late. According to the U.S. Census, rents have kept rising, except for the 1940s when they dipped an average of $27. Big deal. But rents keep going up and up and up. You know the cool thing about this? Even when we had our recession, rents were going up, but property values went down. Of course, we use that old adage, buy low, sell high, right? Buy low, rents are going up. You're seeing double-digit cap rates in markets that shouldn't have cap rates at all, like in California. It's insane. But rents keep going up. So that's why it's important for you to focus your efforts on areas that offer cash flow, appreciation, tax benefits that are undervalued markets. So you can leverage your asset to capitalize on the most returns. Interest rates are at historical lows, as you know. Typically, they've been much closer to 7 and 8%, and oftentimes double digits. Look, I'm a fairly young guy. I graduated high school. Then in the later 80s, I went to work for Bank of America as a teller and then went to loan origination. And do you remember if you were buying a home back in that day, you were paying in between 18 and 22% interest on your primary residence? That's insane. When I bought my first home back in 1995, I went FHA and was paying about, I can't remember, 7.5%, 8%. That's high. Money is so cheap today. If you have the ability to acquire money with extremely low interest rates like that are happening today, then leverage it only to the point to where you can pay it back. Don't over leverage yourself. Because if you can acquire loans, then you can buy more properties, right? Loans are super cheap right now. They're a pain in the tushy to close. They're a pain because they ask for so much documentation, but it's worth it in the long run. If you want a good lender, let me know. I'll get you hooked up, okay? Now, it's a renter's nation. Home ownership fell to a 51-year low in 2016 at just 62%. That's what I'm talking about, guys. We have this We have this motion of more people becoming renters. Our younger generations are not into ownership. They're into mobility, so they love to rent. Wages are hampering the affordability. I mean, if you're in a primary market, look, I'm in Southern California. Minimum wage here right now is $10 an hour, soon to be $11 an hour next year. There's no way in heck you can go buy a house here in Southern California making that type of money. You just can't. So you'll be a renter. But it's even, making that type of money. What are you going to rent? Rents are expensive here. Housing is expensive. Your average home in Southern California is just over $500,000, and that's for a rinky-dink house. It's insane. So wages are hampering the affordability. Student debt is out of control, as you know. Just ask Bernie Sanders. He'll tell you all about it. Credit scores expected to be declining due to debt and late payments. Big funds and bankers currently making more on renters. It's a captive nation, guys. Sure, we're not going to beat the big bankers out there. We're not. But we can be the little sucker fish out there picking up the little droppings here and there, right? You can make your own. So you can be a bigger fish in a smaller pond. But it's not going to happen if you're just sitting on your hands. Do you know who Benjamin Graham is? He was the author of The Intelligent Investor. You might want to pick that up someday. It's Warren Buffett's mentor. You got to know who Warren Buffett is, right? I'm not going to tell you. Google him. I can tell you this. He owns my favorite store, See's Candy, right? He owns a lot more than that, though. He was a valued investor, this guy, a pioneer of dollar cost averaging. That basically means he prized the principle of committing to continuous investments regardless of the media noise about daily price changes. Basically, he's saying invest, invest, invest. Get rid of the media. They're distractions. They have an agenda. Boy, we just experienced that in the political arena, didn't we? I don't care who you're voting for, but everybody was saying Hillary Clinton's going to win. Polling was saying by a landslide. It didn't happen. You have to do your own investigation. You can't go with the masses because you'll fall off the cliff. So whatever the media is doing, probably do the opposite. Do what Benjamin Graham says. Get rid of that media noise about what's going to happen in our markets. Do your own investigation. No matter what's happening, buy it right, and you'll always be profitable. I don't care if it's the top of the market or the bottom market. I will always buy if I'm buying right. Here's a little clip off of page 180 out of his book. He says, in the financial markets, hindsight is forever 20/20. But foresight is legally blind. Didn't I just mention that earlier in this educational session? I said, what's going to happen in the future? Are we going to hit a bubble? Is the bubble going to burst? I have no idea. Foresight is legally blind. And thus, for most investors, market timing is practical and emotionally an impossibility. I'm going to read that again because it's so true. It's so important. In the financial markets, hindsight is forever 20/20, but foresight is legally blind. And thus, for most investors, market timing is a practical and emotional impossibility. Boy, you need to ingrain that in the membrane. So the best time to invest? Now. It has been now. Real estate prices have kept going up over a long run, right? Rents keep going up. Demand for housing keeps going up. Available land for supplying new housing keeps shrinking. And right now, interest rates are making it very attractive to leverage real estate purchases and make great cash flow spreads, even if you aren't sure about market timing. Fortune favors those that take action. Mark my words. Fortune favors those that just take action. So we know that we need to invest, right? And we also know that real estate is one of the best options today, that now is the best time to take action to invest. But what do you invest in? And where do you invest? How do you do it? Well, there's 4 ways to invest. So write this down. Number 1, wholesaling. Wholesaling is a way to get involved in investing, whether you have money or no money, whether you have credit or no credit. If you want to be able to invest without the risks, wholesaling is going to be for you, because you're going to find a property that's undervalued, put that property under contract, sell your contractual rights over to another investor or a home buyer, and you get paid for doing that. You invested no money, you invested no credit, you don't need a license, you're not taking title of the property. This is why so many come to me to learn how to wholesale. And they may come to me learning how to wholesale to build that business because they want to flip contracts, or they want to supply themselves fix and flips, or they want to supply themselves rental properties. They want to know how to find the deal so they can buy right. So wholesaling may be your immediate way to create some cash, and your best way to learn how to buy rental properties, by the way. The second way is to fix and flip. Now, you don't get as paid as quick on selling a contract when you do a fix and flip. You're actually investing your money, your time, maybe some credit. You've got the holding costs. And typically, on average, you get paid back in about 6 months term. So you buy an undervalued market through a wholesaler, or you find that deal yourself. You fix it up, you retail it, sell it, make some money. Bigger payday, but your money is out there, your credit's out there, it's a longer payday, it's 6 months, right? So I do both. I wholesale the deals I don't want to fix and flip. I take that wholesaling money, and when I do find a deal I want to fix and flip, I buy it, I self-fund myself, I fix it and flip it, make a bigger payday. Another way to make some money or to invest is becoming a private lender. This is where you might have some mattress money. This may be a place where you have, a very low interest rate on your home equity line of credit. You pull it out, maybe your home equity line of credit is 4%, but you lend it out for 10%. You're making 6%. You're making money on the bank's money. That's what they do to you, right? You put money in your checking and savings account, they immediately lend that to themselves, put it out there, make more money. So you can do that. I mean, black belt investors, we work with private money lenders all the time that want to earn double-digit returns. Money's out there for a short period of time. They get all their money back, plus all the interest. It's fantastic. That way you don't have to own real estate. You can just be a passive, truly passive investor. And then the fourth way to make some money is through rental properties. And this is where you're going to go after that cash flow, the appreciation, tax deductions, because when you have all 3 of those ingredients, that becomes your wealth builder. So the top 3, 1, 2, and 3, those are cash builders. Number 4 is a wealth builder. To build wealth, you must buy and hold. The other 3 are operating as a business. So when we're profiting from rental properties, we are looking at the appreciation. We want our properties to increase in value. You buy it undervalued, possibly pay maybe retail in a rising market, but it cash flows extremely well. You're in a market that is undervalued, so you buy something at $100,000, and the next thing you know, in 5 years, it's worth $170,000. You made some pretty darn good money just off of appreciation. You made $70,000 in 5 years, and that's more money than you make off of cash flow. That's why appreciation is important. Then you have long-term wealth building. We must always buy and sell to create cash, but we also must buy and hold to create wealth. Our 1 to 3, our wholesaling, our fix and flips, our private money lending, are items to where we use that cash flow to live on, pay business expenses, and use to buy and hold real estate for the long term. And we're buying and holding real estate for the long term, we're after the income that it produces. We're after the tax benefits that I've explained a handful of times. And then number 5, we can also profit by leveraging other people's time, their energy, and money. What do I mean by that? Well, you can maybe come in and buy a property. Are you gonna go and start running all the numbers of the economy, our local economies, our micro economies, are figuring out what values are, figuring out what rental values are, figuring out days on market, figuring out if it's a buy or a sell market, if it's a soft market, if it's a rapidly growing fast market? Are you going to sit in the city town hall meetings to learn about the market? I mean, you can leverage people's time that have already done all that work. Keep that time and energy for yourself. Same thing goes for the lender. Maybe you're going to acquire a loan. You don't have to know everything about lending. You know just a little bit about it, but not everything. So you can tap into our lenders and leverage their time. Let them do the searching for you. That's why I love mortgage brokers, because they'll go out there and search lots of different lenders so I don't have to. Keep time and money on my side. Take a look at this here. Here's a beautiful brick property in Cleveland, Ohio. Now, an investor from our network, Black Belt Investors, bought it from us for $49,000. It's rented at $925 per month. That means they pull in a net income with all expenses taken out, a true net income of just over $6,400 a year. That produces a 13% cap rate. Now, you don't see bars on the windows because we're in areas that are strong working class or better. Where are you going to find markets that are on the rise, that are actually in the spotlight now, for $49,000? It's very difficult. Double-digit return. But let's say you bought this deal 5 years ago. You know what? You would have put $32,000 cash back in your pocket from the rents. You'd still have the asset, and it might be worth a lot more today, giving you an additional X amount of dollars in net worth. What if you would have bought 5 or 10 of them? See? We all know that we wish we would have bought more properties 5 years ago, 6 years ago, right? Because you would have made a killing today off of appreciation. You would have gotten a lot of your money back on the cash flow side. Some people couldn't. Some people were scared sitting on their hands. You still have opportunity today, but you got to get off your hands and start putting them to work. So where can you afford to invest is the question you got to ask yourself. Are you looking at properties maybe in Texas that are going to be, starting in the low $100,000 range up to $200,000 range? Would you come in with a loan? Would you pay all cash? Would you go to Cleveland and buy properties, starting in the mid $40,000 range to about $60,000? Is that affordable to you? You got to go where it's affordable for you to invest. Not only just for you, but is it affordable for the renter? And will it be affordable in the future to resell to a home buyer if you decide to liquidate? It's the exit strategy. Then we need to take a look at where is the best value for you with your affordability, and where's the best value to place your money on the asset? Where will properties cash flow the best? Now again, are we only after cash flow? No. We don't want to go after properties that only cash flow, because you'll be stuck in a market and you'll become a landlord for life. That's not what you want. You want to be in a market to where you can be a landlord, collect the appreciation, get the cash flow, and if you decide or you must liquidate a property, you can. So we got to go with exit strategy in mind. So where will properties cash flow? Where has the best potential for equity growth? So we can look at the markets that I like to invest in, like, California, Phoenix, Indianapolis, Kansas City, Cleveland. We can look at those markets, but we can also look at markets that I mentioned earlier, like Kokomo, Indiana, that doesn't appreciate at all, guys. but people are buying there because properties are cheap. Okay, that's where the old adage, you get what you pay for type of thing, right? But if there's no employment in the area, it's not going to grow. If people can't make their rents, then you're going to have a vacant property or you're going to have to evict. It's not worth the headache. Go in areas that grow. Where do you have the best exit options is another question you need to ask yourself. So consider these markets that I mentioned: Phoenix, Southern California, Kansas City, Indianapolis, and Cleveland. So Phoenix is an area where I love to buy and hold. Also love to buy, fix, and flip there. But buying and holding, we can still get properties very inexpensive. I've got one right now, guys, a fourplex for $103,000. Just acquired it. Now I'm going to turn around and sell it. Haven't even marketed it yet. Interested? Let me know. But a fourplex for $103,000. It's insane. But people think, oh, no, it's too pricey over there. Okay. Stay away. Let me go invest as much as I can, right? So Phoenix is a great market because it's, they don't have harsh weather except for the summertime. It gets hot. But otherwise, fall through spring is gorgeous. Very conservative state. Prices are extremely affordable. Rising market in Phoenix because of the diversification in the business arena there. People are moving there, so they're expanding airports. Perfect market for us. And it's affordable. In fact, I'm going to have a tour there in late February. You might want to mark that down. I believe it's the last Sunday in February, so mark that down. Now, I love to buy, fix, and flip, but, the Phoenix market is a great rental market, but don't expect double-digit cap rates. Not going to get them. People are buying there because it's close to home, newer properties, very good appreciation, affordability factor. Southern California, we're no longer buying and holding here. We're just strictly wholesaling and fixing and flipping here is what we're doing. Kansas City and Indianapolis, those two markets are like twin sisters. Your prices are the same, starting about $70,000 plus. Your age of the properties are the same. The rental market's the same. The prices are the same. The climate's the same. Everything's basically the same in those two markets. We're buying there to get a nice unique blend of a good cash flow of 8-9%, properties that are still under $100,000, good strong working class markets. It's a great area to invest. But we find that a lot of our investors are moving out of the Kansas City, Indianapolis market and moving over to Cleveland. Why? Because of these reasons here. It's ranked the second most affordable city in the United States. Billions, and I mean billions, being invested in development there. Some of you just went on a tour with me last month and you saw with your own eyes what's happening in that town. Lifestyle, job growth, strong economic fundamentals. And you know what? It's not just that. It's a destination place now. 20 years ago, tar pit. Today, completely different. Look what's happening in sports, right? Cavaliers, take the champions. Indians, we're just in the World Series. Browns, let's not mention them. But I mean, it is a sporting town. See that fabulous food and dining there? This whole area was not there just 5 years ago, 6 years ago. They've built this downtown to where you can walk around. You're not going to have an issue with graffiti and trash and, low income, areas. This whole town is being completely renovated. It's beautiful. Green and progressive. So it's named Intel Digital Worldwide Community. Awarded Intelligent Community of the Year. One of the first to create a high-speed fiber optic and citywide Wi-Fi network. It's insane what's happening over in Cleveland. But one of the biggest things that are happening there is the Cleveland Clinic. I don't care where you live in America, you will see the Cleveland Clinic in the news on your commercials, Anytown, USA. Now let me ask you this. Does medical get bigger or smaller? Yeah, it gets bigger, doesn't it? This means that there's job growth happening in this town because of the medical facilities. They have over 600 biotech startup companies that are there. It's now the hub of the United States. It's home to NASA, home to the Cleveland Clinic. Cleveland Clinic is buying up land like crazy. So you have your newer generation moving into town, your techs, your receptionists, your doctors, your nurses, providing employment. Then you have your older generation that needs to be next to these medical facilities and hospitals. It's the healthcare hub with over 60 hospitals in Cleveland. Business investor friendly. It's home to 29 colleges and universities, 6 deep water ports and 2 international airports, economic region which has consistently grown faster and boasted job growth faster than the national average. If you were listening to the Republican debates and with Kasich, the governor, he took a state that was, I can't remember, ranked number 47 or 48th worst economy, and now he's in the top 10. Cleveland's one of the biggest contributing factors because of that. They are going through a complete revitalization in that state. Now, when I mention a destination like investing in, it's not because I've lived there or because it's the only market I know of or from finding properties that are cheap. Some or most of your agents or other investment firms and others try to sell you on X or Y because that's all they got. They got to tell you it's a good time to buy there, or they're going to starve, and that leased vehicle is going to get towed. But black belt investors, we're different. We've been different. We're one of the founding fathers in California of diversifying out of state. Been investing in real estate for nearly 22 years on the buy and holds, or on the buy, fix and flip, and the buy and hold side. I've invested from coast to coast, from Fort Myers, Florida, my very first property, to Hawaii. And I'm consistently traveling to different cities to see what's it like on the grounds. I'm working with investors in many different states. So when I recommend a city, it's not just because I pulled up some stats on Yahoo or because it saves me from having to go any further than my golf court that will take me there. It's based on extensive experience, real-time feedback from the ground, and being there doing deals before I introduce that market to my community. Black Belt Investors is a full-service investment education company. We offer the benefit of whole market knowledge, multiple investment strategies, and still provide personal service. Everyone is at a starting point, right? In fact, it's not just a starting point, but it's a unique point. Some of you may already have a couple dozen rental properties or flips under your belts. Others may just be exploring real estate for the very first time. So we've got wholesaling, we've got purchase options training, flipping houses workshops, on-site training, mentoring, one-on-one personal coaching and consulting, joint ventureship opportunities. I just had someone today ask me, can you find me a joint venture partner because they want to buy another property in the Cleveland market? If that interests you, then you've got to email me tonight. Give us a call tomorrow. Not only do we do joint ventureships, but we have turnkey properties, rental properties, just like I showed you earlier. Wholesaling, purchase options, flipping houses, joint ventureships, turnkey rentals, business and portfolio building. Now, of course, we've found in many active investors who want to find better deals, buy and add to their rentals, as well as newer investors looking for their best way to get in. Everyone faces challenges, right? And when it comes to investing in the best properties and across the states, it can mean distance, connection, and local expertise challenges. So we've created remote rehabs back in the year 2000. We find it, we fix it, we rent it, you profit. To me, it's the best investment properties in the best markets, 100% hands and hammer free. So here's what Remote Rehabs does for you. We find the best priced properties out there that fit your budget. I have teams in every location that work with and for me, so that way we can optimize your rental property and portfolio. Professional property management in place and all at a discount. Turnkey experience, as we are one of the first to be offering turnkey properties here in California to California investors nationwide. So here's how it works. If you're interested in doing something like this and start collecting properties in your portfolio, you've got to register for them. We're not your typical real estate company that says, hey, go to our website and choose a property. That's not us. We have quality product and quality markets at quality pricing. And so you know what that ends up happening is we have demand for our properties. So we have an investor queue. So you need to register with us so we can develop a file and help you with your investment needs. But what we really need you to do is you're really interested in investing is to set up that personal consultation that I offered earlier. This way we can get to know you, you can get to know us, make sure we're a right fit for each other. Because we're investing together. It's not, here's a property, you're on your own. We're investing together. We want to make sure that we got the right strategy for your budget. Then once you get that consultation, you get registered, then we'll put you in the investor queue. And once you start reaching close to pole position, we'll let you know and we'll say, hey, you know what, Barry, we're going to be sending a property over your direction. Check it out. Let's get on the phone and talk about it. And then we'll start sending you a deal. Now, if you decide it's for you, fantastic. Then we're going to go through the purchase and sales agreement. You're going to do some due diligence. We're going to get the escrow started. We're going to close on it. Some properties will come turnkey. Some properties will come turnkey and rented. And if you want the better deal, we're going to sell you a property that needs rehab, but don't worry about it. We'll close on it as is. We'll rehab it after closing. Typically takes 90 days or less to get it all rehabbed and city approved. Then we will get our property manager involved, get the property rented, and you start collecting the cash flow. And you know what also that means? You're going to buy more and start building the wealth. Can't do it unless you're actively investing. You can't just buy one and sit and wait. That's not going to make you wealthy. You need to collect real estate like you would collect baseball cards. Now, if you need funding for your deals, no problem. Most people are buying these properties in Cleveland cash. A lot of people buying properties in Arizona, complete opposite. Good mixture of cash and with loans. But not going to turn you down either way. So if you have cash, fantastic. Use cash. If you want your cash back out, then do a cash out refi, pull that money back out, and then use that cash to buy another property and start collecting. Many investors are tapping into their retirement funds, going into their 401ks, cashing out, going to their IRAs, getting a self-directed or a solo 401k, using those monies to purchase real estate that's giving them a better return than what their current account is offering. If you need help with that, let me know. I can get you hooked up. Another thing you may want to take a look at is if you have some assets, whether it's a boat, certain cars, liquidate them. Use that money. They're not earning you money. Liquidate them. Buy real estate. Or if you have real estate that's underperforming, then it's time to optimize. You may want to look at different strategies to optimize that property and hold it, or liquidate them and move them over to a market that's doing better than the current market that you're in right now. I do that all the time. I've been cashing out on my Texas properties because they're pretty high in value and buying more properties like in the Cleveland market at the prices I was buying in Texas, knowing that eventually the Cleveland market's going to reach the price that I'm selling at in Texas right now. And there will be a time where I liquidate my Cleveland properties and move on to another market. Why? Because I'm constantly snowballing my cash. If you need to get a loan, some of these properties you can come in with a loan. Some of these properties need to come with the cash. So like, for instance, that fourplex I just picked up over in Arizona, that's an all-cash deal, but it's a fourplex for about $103,000. Pretty darn good deal. So if you need a loan, we can get you connected with our lender. Joint ventureships is another great way to go. If you got a $50,000 property, right? Four of you kick in, let's just say four of you kick in $15,000 a piece. You have enough cash to buy that property plus a padding in your account. Then later on, you guys decide, you know what? Our money's tied up in this property. Then you guys qualify for a loan. Pull that money out, go buy a second property. See? It's important for people like myself that want to continually build to tap into joint ventureships. So you may want to take a look at the same thing. You may want to learn about joint ventureships through one of our educational workshops. You may already know about joint ventureships and need a partner. Then you can connect with us, and we can possibly connect you with one of our investors. You might want to bring in your own partners and leverage their money to buy more real estate. So there's lots of different ways you can definitely get involved in real estate and collecting properties that, are not going to require all your money or your credit at all. So if you're interested, I'm going to encourage you to sign up for a one-on-one free strategy session with me. If you already had one, sorry, you only get one. My time's valuable just like your time's valuable, but if you haven't had one on remote rehabs, then you're more welcome to sign up for a one-on-one strategy session. If you want to speak to me, that's okay. Go ahead and request me. We'll get it scheduled. I'll be more than happy to speak with you. Then we can have that personalized strategy session. And then we'll identify your goals to see if it's going to be a fit for you. If I've got a product or service that even fits your needs, then I'll help pinpoint the path to move forward, creating that battle plan to help you achieve your individual goals. So how short are you? And I'm not talking about height. Well, you know what? You'll probably need at least $1 million of property to be able to retire. And I'm not talking about buying one house in Northern California for $1 million. It's not what I'm talking about. That doesn't make any sense. That's our home. It's not investment properties. But you're going to need at least $1 million worth of property to be able to retire. And more if you want to retire well. And you'll need a lot, probably much sooner than you need, what you think. If you tend to enjoy, some of your free time and have a life between now and retirement. I mean, take a look at this graph here. The big yellow there, 45% partially dependent upon relatives. That's where it's heading, right? Especially in the millennial gap. That's a age group there that's really kind of needing or wanting to live off of relatives or mom and dad. 30% dependent upon charity. 23% still working. 2% self-sustaining. Where are you going to fall in this pie graph? I think a lot of us on this webinar tonight are probably going to be in the 23%. How are we going to get to the 2%? You cannot do it by yourself. Utilize the resources out there. Utilize a team. Get help. I just had a guy that wanted to buy some properties using a loan. With the loan, he's going to be producing little over 8% return on that property, over in the high 20% cash on cash basis. But he turned down the investment because he thought the loan fees were too high. This is where I look at that old movie Back to the Future where I wanted to knock on his head and say, hello, McFly. He's not seeing the big picture. He's hung up on a little over $2,000 in loan fees. But he's earning in between 8 and 9% cap rate and over 25% cash-on-cash return. And that's factoring in the loan. He just couldn't get past that $2,000. Plus, by the way, is tax deductible. See? You got to see the bigger picture. And quit looking at the cost factor, because that's cheap money, the cost factor versus the return on investment. That $2,000 is going to come back within the first couple of months, but he didn't get it. Just didn't get it. So if you want to get out of that yellow, that red, or that blue and get into the 2%, that green area, you got to take a little bit of risk, calculated risk, of course. Utilize your team, push fear to the side, rely on faith, and push forward. Look at this one here. 1 in 3 Americans has 0 saved for retirement. 0 saved for retirement. That is insane to me for a country that's so abundant in money. 33% no retirement savings. 23% less than $10,000 in their bank. 10% has $10,000 to $49,000 saved. What's that, a half a year's annual income? Holy smokes. 8%, $50,000 to $99,000 saved. 8%, $100,000 to $199,000 saved. 5%, $200,000 to $300,000 saved. 13%, $300,000 or more. We need to be in the 13% because $300,000, everybody, will not last you very long. Maybe 4 years. Not going to happen. So you need to get off your assets and put it into action. If you aren't gaining traction every single day, you are now falling further behind. Did you know that? If you aren't gaining traction every single day, you are falling further behind. Remember that. Getting started couldn't be any easier. You have 100% hands-free investing via remote rehabs, or you can learn about building a real estate business through buying and selling properties, whether it's wholesaling, fix, or flips. Or you can become a private money lender and earn double digits. It's all up to you. We can help you build it. The question is do you really want to build it? Because if you do, you'll do something about it. Now, you can register to get on Remote Rehab's investors list. Claim your free strategy session by giving us a call or emailing us at invest@blackbeltinvestors.com. So write that down right now. And I'm also got a gift if you are still on tonight. It's only for the people that are on. Is this. Go to blackbeltinvestors.com/invest/remote-rehabs, that's plural, -2. blackbeltinvestors.com/invest/remote-rehabs-2. And download my new book that just came out, How to Make Incredible Real Estate Returns in the Best Property Markets Without Lifting a Hammer. Remote Rehabs. All right, guys. I did say that we'll take a few calls. We're a little bit over time, but let's take 5 minutes. Go ahead. In your box from the webinar, you can type in a message. If you got a message typed in, I will find it, and I will read off your question to everybody, and I'll be more than happy to answer it. So go ahead and do that now while I take a sip of water. And I will answer questions. All right, so let me go in. I don't really know of an order here, but let me see. I'll just go scroll down and do it, okay? All right, here we go. All right, so we have, okay. First question. Okay, been meaning to shoot you an email to ask a question. I have a land lot in Texas, and it's under my name and my dad's. It's all paid off. I was told in my asset protection class that I need to post no trespassing signs since I'm not there. Do you carry any of those signs? No, but I can tell you what, you can probably find them at Walmart. They're easy to find, Mr. Wynn. So very simple. You can just Google in no trespassing signs and you can buy them all day long off the internet. Okay, pretty darn easy question. Next question. Shoot, if I learn how to open this thing up, let me see. How do I open this here? My bad. Oh, here we go. Is that right? Oh, I get a lot of hellos. So I got hello, hello, hello. Got it, got it, got it. Good joke. You're welcome. Lost sound. I hope not. Okay. What's the rental on the fourplex? Not really sure your question. Sorry, can't answer that. Not really sure what you're asking me. Okay, so the last went away too quick. Not really sure what that means either. Guys, make sure you're taking a look at what you're typing in, please, because it looks like some of these things are getting cut off. Okay. Can you get me in touch with a loan officer? Absolutely. Send me an email, and I'll put his copy and paste his contact information in there for you. Our loan officer, let me know what you want, okay, meaning in regards to loan. I've got two different mortgage brokers that I use. One's better than the other for certain things. So if you're looking for doing loans in California, let me know. If you're looking to do loans in California and out of state, let me know. If you're looking for loans in areas that offer, of $75,000 or less, let me know. So be a little bit specific so I can target the right mortgage lender for you, okay? All right. Can I use all cash money? Of course you can. Right? Cash is king, Harry. You know that. Harry asks, can I use all cash money? Yes, people do that all the time. Don't come to my office with a briefcase full of cash, although that would be fun. But I would not prefer it. Let's do it the right way, okay, and bring it through escrow. All right, next question I have is coming from JD. What are your thoughts about the future of real estate with Trump's election? All aside, do you think real estate will get better or worse with Trump in office? I don't care about the elections, guys. People ask me this all the time, and with that, people always will say, you know what, I'm not going to buy real estate until after the election. You tell me what has changed before or after an election when it comes to real estate. See, real estate is a very slow-moving asset. That's why it's easier to foresee what's going to happen in real estate versus a stock, because stocks you have to watch every day. What stocks were worth on the day of election was completely opposite from the day after they gave out Donald Trump, our president-elect. Was it not? But real estate remained the same. So what do I think? I think capitalize on good markets and undervalued properties, and you'll pretty much be safe. Okay? But it is a good question, JD. When is the next wholesale training camp? That's going to happen in March, I believe. March. You're going to have to email us, and I think we have some tentative dates. March meaning that we're done for the year, just had one a week and a half ago. We're closing out the year, then we'll kick them off again, and the one in March will be in Southern California somewhere. This is coming from Rita. How do you go about flipping a house that you live in that needs probably a new foundation? Well, if you live in it, I guess what you meant is that you're going to put the property up for sale, right? Because you're not really buying it, fixing and flipping it. You bought it, you're living in it, you're going to resell it. So are you telling me, Rita, that you have no plans on fixing that foundation? You want to sell it as is? If that's the case, no problem. Disclose. Let everybody know when you put it up on the market. There is foundational issues, properties being sold as is. Don't expect to get full retail for that property, because obviously someone's going to have to come in, depending on the extent of work, they're going to have to come in and fix that foundation. That means money is going to be required to bring it up to a retail value. If you're going to want to retail it, then obviously what you're going to need to do, Rita, is fix that foundation, and then you're going to have to completely update everything in the house. Flooring, paint, you know, cabinetry, vanities, sink, whatever your market neighborhood dictates in regards to the retail side is what you're going to need to do. But if you don't plan on doing that and you're going to want to sell it as is, then just disclose that out. Typically, if it's a really bad foundational issue, lenders won't loan on a property like that, with the exception of a hard money lender. And the hard money lender, they lend their money over to buy, fix, and flip investors. If your property is located in one of the markets that I mentioned, give me a call. I might be interested in buying it. Oh, you know what? Your message was cut off. My apologies, because it continues on another slide. So you ask, how do I go about flipping a house that you live in that needs probably a new foundation? We have completed 4 flips. Now on number 5, we are looking for a line of credit or a loan to fund these projects so we don't have to rely on hard money lending. Wondering if you know of options? Of course I do. Also, we want to purchase a multi-complex and need creative financing. Any advice? Absolutely. Okay, well, these are easy questions to answer. Great questions. Oh, actually, this is from Lisa. So it wasn't cut off. I'm sorry. For some reason, it scrambled on my side, but Lisa's asking this question. So she's completed 4 flips on number 5. Look, Lisa, when it comes to ditching hard money lending, the reason why you want to ditch hard money lending is not because of the interest rates. It's because of the points. The points is where they make their money. So you're going to have to find someone that offers low points, or you're going to have to go find a private money lender that doesn't charge you points, but only charge you on interest. The other thing that you'll need to do is put your corporation to use, make sure it's seasoned, and start applying for corporate credit, because that money is going to be a lot cheaper. Then if you have properties that have equity in it, then pull money out, do a cash out refi, because money is so darn cheap. If you have a home that has equity in it, then do a home equity line of credit, because money is so darn cheap. We're only talking about, maybe a point on loan fees, and then 3, 4, maybe 5% on the interest rate. So darn cheap. If you have great credit, put your credit cards to use. All your credit card is a hard money lender, right? And those interest rates are negotiable. Find yourself partners. Start JVing with other investors. Borrow their money. Give them a percentage of the deal. I mean, I can go on and on and on. There's so many different ways that we can pull these monies together. Now, in regards to purchasing multi-complex, well, when it comes to buying multi-units, creative financing, well, you've got a couple of options. Again, you're just going to rely on private money lenders if you want to do that. Or 2, you're going to have to learn what I call purchase options. And purchase options is where we seek distressed sellers or people that want to lend money. Become a owner financed. What am I trying to say? Want to offer seller financing and do a loan. So get this. Okay, you're going to love this, Lisa, right? This is not a multi-unit, but it's a house. I was in Cleveland just a couple of weeks ago looking at a property that I bought, and we're getting ready to start rehab. Drive down the street, turn the block, and I find your textbook FSBO out there. Nice looking house, great neighborhood. So I called my office and I said, hey, office, Sylvia in particular, I said, give this person a call. Find out what they want for the property. They call, get the information on the property. She calls me back, says, well, they want, I'll just tell you, they want $55,000 for the property. I said, well, tell them this. I'll come take a look at it if they'll accept $35,000. And so Sylvia calls them back. They say, yeah, we'll accept $35,000 after like an hour consultation between spouses, and we'll accept it. I said, okay, set up an appointment. I'll go take a look at it. Taking a look at it, I said, okay, you know what? I did say $35,000, but you didn't disclose to me this, and that. Sorry, I can't do $35,000. I can do $31,000. That's it. Cash. I'll take care of your problem tenant. Tenant's not really a problem. They just don't want to move. They are paying. And they discussed it, and they said, done deal. Fantastic. Going to write up the contract. I said, you know what? I'd be more than happy to pay you an extra $2,500 on this property. And they said, why? I said, well, if you provide owner financing. They go, what do you mean? I said, well, I'm going to, you're wanting to get rid of this property because you don't want to be a landlord anymore, right? Yeah. I said, so you don't really need the money. If you finance me this deal, I'll turn around and I'll buy this property at $33,500 and I'll cash you out within 6 months because I'm going to buy it, fix it, and flip it. And they came back to me and they countered my offer. And they said, no, we want $33,000 and you pay us back in 4 months, and any additional month up to 6 months, which would be 2, you pay us, $1,000 a month. And I said, no, sorry, that's not going to work. Why? Because it's going to take me 2 months to get the tenant out of the property. We're hitting winter time. That means snow. It's going to take me some time to rehab that property. And I'm in the middle of rehab and you want me to pay you back? Can't happen. $1,000 a month is a little bit too much, don't you think? Because your rents coming in right now are only $825. But I'll do this. I will take 5 months instead of the 6 months. I'll pay you $500 for the 6th month. You know what they came back and countered me at? They said, okay, but we don't want 6 months. We want 8 months. If you cash us out anytime before the 8 months, no problem. We'll take our money and run. But we like to have that extra $500 per month if possible. And I said, done deal. So how does that happen? Being out in the field, number one. Typically that happens, Lisa, is by marketing to targeted owners. And so that's where purchase options come in. And we do owner financing, lease options, sandwich lease options, subject to deals, contract for deeds, all that great stuff. And that's how I just recently picked up a property with no money, seller financing, just like you read in all the books and listen to all your 8 tracks. If you're interested in that, go to our website, blackbeltinvestors.com. Take a look at purchase options. It'll give you everything you need to know. All right. What kind of commercial real estate opportunity do you offer? What do you want? If you're wanting multi-units, small multi-units like that 4-plex, no problem. You want a duplex? No problem. You want 82 units apartments? No problem. I've got it. Those multi-units typically come in the markets of Cleveland. Commercial, we do quite a bit of commercial over in Kansas City, and multi-units over in the Phoenix market. So you choose. We can definitely do it. Thank you, Michelle. DR asks me this. Wholesale training camp dates. Don't know. Call the office, 951-280-1900. We have tentative dates set up, but I don't know the dates off the top of my head. Sorry. But you can call the office and they'll help you out with that. Let me see. Another question. If I'm interested in buying a multifamily, like 32 units out of state, do you think I might get funding for this? Have no idea. You have to get pre-approved or pre-qualified through a lender. I can't answer that question. Sorry, I'd love to. Most of our investors are paying cash for these multi-units, though. And then they'll turn around and do a cash out refi because it's easier to get the loan. But you'd have to talk to our lender to find that out, okay? So again, just email us and we'd be more than happy to hook you up with a lender. Duran, which was on the tour with me just in a couple weeks ago, he says, which market is best to refinance an investment property to buy more? Cleveland or Arizona? Doesn't matter. Duran, doesn't matter in regards to cash out refi, because they're both appreciating. What really matters is can you afford to buy all cash, then do the cash out refi in. Okay, he says, I only have cash to afford in the Cleveland market. Then that's simple, Deron. You do it in the Cleveland market. If I buy in Arizona, it would be financed. Yeah, so what you could do, Deron, is this. This is kind of cool, so it's a good question you're asking. You can go buy a property all cash in the Cleveland market, right? Do a cash out refi. Now you own that property in the Cleveland market with a loan on it, still cash flowing like a champ. Take that money that you pulled out of that property and go buy a finance property over in the Phoenix market. You can do that, see? And now you got 2 properties in 2 different markets if that's what you like to do. Dude, we can get very creative, but the opportunity is definitely there. All right, another question about wholesale training. I know wholesale training is fantastic. It's a great way to make money. Call the office guys. All right, another question. Thank you, you're welcome. Best email address to contact Black Belt investors. Look at your screen. The screen is not on there. It's invest at blackbeltinvestors.com. Again, invest at blackbeltinvestors.com, or just go to our website. Okay, and we've got, just go to the contact page and we'll get you connected. Love it. All right. No problem, Lisa. I do typos all the time. Just read my emails. All right. Would you rather be private lender or buy and hold? That's up to you. I don't know who's asking this question, but the question is, would you rather be a private money lender or a buy and hold investor? That's up to you, because a buy and hold investor means your money is going to be in this property for the long term. Private money means it's going to be in there for a short term. See the difference? So if you just want to invest your money and get it back in 6 months, 9 months, be a private money lender, because you can't do that with a buy and hold unless you do a cash out refi. But also take a look at this. I didn't talk about this as private money, so let's just talk about black belt investors for an example. Most people that lend money, they want at least bare minimum $50,000. Okay, anything below that's too small for them. We'll take as low as 10,000 bucks. The reason why we do that is because we want everybody to have a chance to invest. So, we give out 10%. If you want you got only $10,000, you want to earn 10% on that, we'll do it. Okay, just to get you involved, and you just keep compounding that interest. 10% earns you $1,000. Now you got $11,000 to invest, right? So you invest 11,000, 10%. Now you got 1,100 bucks. So we just keep compounding that is what you want to do. So we want to give a chance to everybody. So if you want your money out there for a short period of time, then be a private money lender. If you want it out there for the long haul, earning, appreciation, tax deductions, and cash flow, buy and hold investor. I hope that answers your question. All right, how do I find a person to check the foundation? Go to Home Advisor in your area, okay? Or just Google foundation contractor, or how about this? Foundation inspector in your neighborhood, okay? So you type in, let's say you live in Charlotte, North Carolina, foundation inspection. Or you find, or you can do that, or you can go to structural engineer, and structural engineer will pop up, and you can hire them to come out and do an inspection for you, okay? Rich asked me, when are your monthly meetings resuming? Rich, as you know, I'm one of the older real estate clubs in Southern California. We gave it I've been going on for 16 years now, 15 years, sorry. We gave it a break. We held it the last one in June, giving the rest of the year a break to me because I've got so much going on. I'm not sure if we're going to continue in January, but we're doing quarterly meetings right now. So you want to make sure that you stay in tune for our quarterly. Instead of monthly, we've gone quarterly, but we are definitely looking to come back to our monthly meetings soon. Just don't have a date planned just yet. Okay. All right. Next question. Let me scroll. We are already utilizing credit cards, HELOC. We need a larger amount. Okay. So then tap into a private money lender. Lots of ways to get private money lenders. They abound us. They're all over the place. Negotiate with their terms. Property is in a community with similar structure damage. Do I speak with others that have homes for sale? I'm not really sure that question. All right, I'm going to wrap it up. Thanks so much for your information and knowledge. You rock. You are most welcome. DR, I'm not sure who you are, but you're most welcome. That's what I'm here for. And another one says, thank you so much. You are welcome again. My pleasure. Okay, fantastic, guys. I think that's about it, and we're good to go. And with that, I hope you guys enjoyed the webinar this evening. Again, download your book right now, and then check out our brand new website. By the way, it's brand new at blackbeltinvestors.com. I haven't even looked at all the pages yet. So jump on that. We've got a new platform coming out to you might want to check that out as well, where you'll have a back office there and start receiving recorded webinars and articles and interviews and spreadsheets. Going to be kind of cool. That's going to be launched pretty darn soon. So if you're interested in that, log into that and it'll give you a little bit of information. Otherwise, you know what, guys? Start taking that action. Get off your hands, put them to work, get it going, do whatever it takes, be relentless towards your investing because now is the time to do it. Let us know if you need our help. And call us at 951-280-1900 or simply go to remoterehabs.com or blackbeltinvestors.com. This is Sensei Gilliland with Black Belt Investors, and I am out.